Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Tuesday, June 30th, 2020. This is episode 506 of The Daily Dope. If this is the first time you've popped in to join me, let me point out this very, very casual show. For the most part, we talk tabletop gaming around these here parts. Certainly not rocket surgery, that is for certain. So we just kind of kick back, have a little bit of fun, maybe talk a little bit about different things, which I'm going to mention something tonight. Not going to go into a whole lot about it, but I'm a little salty this evening. So, not really. I just, something that needs to be addressed real quick. But I got a lot of news for us today as well. So, we are going to jump into some tabletop gaming news. Do want to point out, if you like this video, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't yet. And if you do subscribe, by all means, ring that little notification bell. It will tell you not only when the Daily Dope streams live, Monday through Thursday nights, but it will also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my recent review of Enemy in Shadows for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, and lots of other goodies as well. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Of course, because this is a live stream, that also means chat is available on YouTube. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question or a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. So I do want to mention we've got storms in the area once again tonight. Just rolled in just a few minutes before I began the show this evening, and I have already had the power flicker a little bit twice. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we do not have any sort of outage, even if it's just for a few seconds, because there goes the router. And that'll end the stream. So, don't know. We'll see what's going on. Anyway, in chat so far, we got lots rocking so far. We've got the Madman, Flaming Huron, John Vogel, Kabuki Kid is also here. And, of course, Dan from No Enemies Here is here. Right, so we're going to jump in. We're going to talk about the news in just a moment. Two things to start off with. I think tomorrow night, just for laughs, we're not going to have news. I am going to unbox and take a first look at the Men of Iron tri-pack from GMT Games. This is actually 3 of the Men of Iron series. So we've got Men of Iron, Infidel, which for some reason, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, I just couldn't get that word out of my mouth. I kept calling it like Infidel and stuff like Zinfandel, right? Infidels and Blood and Roses. So I think we're going to take a look at this tomorrow night. We're going to take a little break from the news. It's a War Game Wednesday. Let's have some fun on a War Game Wednesday and dive on in. So that's what we're going to have on tomorrow's show. Okay, before I jump in, let's see anything going on in chat here. Yes, so Dan says, oh yeah, blame it on the elements, just like insurance companies do. Madman says they could use some rain in Detroit. So no rain in 10 days or so. Used to live out in Arizona, and it was funny. We would get I think they call it the haboob or whatever. They call it monsoon season, which I always thought was silly because monsoons are torrential rains that basically wash people's towns away. That's a monsoon. Monsoon isn't, wow, it's humid. It feels like it's going to rain. There's lightning in the sky, but it doesn't rain. But yeah, that used to be weird because we wouldn't get the rain and it would just be really uncomfortable. They called it monsoon season. All right. Anyway, so before we jump into the news, do want to mention something. So last night I tweeted out that I had noticed there were quite a few game companies, both large and small, who had not shared any kind of public statement regarding Black Lives Matter or anything along those lines. So I said, so what is their attitude? Is it, well, racists and white supremacists buy games too? Don't want to piss them off. Sort of along the lines of what Michael Jordan said way back in the day, why he wouldn't throw his weight behind any kind of social issues. And he said, well, Republicans buy sneakers too. So I kind of threw that out there and I said, well, is that their attitude? I don't know. What say you? And some people got ticked off about it. I had one ass clown in the Madman can attest to this. He was just going around in circles. So thankfully, we have actually seen a couple of companies come out today basically saying that, yes, they stand against bigotry and discrimination. And that's all I was really saying. I wasn't saying that these companies have to come out and say, oh, yeah, we're for rioting and looting and tearing down statues. Never said anything like that. So, but I hear, so GMT had released a statement today. Multi-Man Publishing, who I really almost never talk about because they don't, maybe I'm wrong here, but I thought for the most part, they pretty much kind of only release like advanced squad leader stuff. And I have actually no relationship with them, but they had released a statement as well. And I guess they're getting a lot of blowback about it. And people are like, well, I'm never buying your games again. Oh, well, if you're against discrimination and racism, I'm not buying your games. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I'm 52 years old. I wasn't raised like some of these people. I was like, come on. If anybody should be like the get off my lawn kind of guy, it would be me, right? I'm 52 years old. But I tend to be like so like open-minded compared to other folks. And there is a reason why I'm not that popular out there. And it's because I shoot my mouth off. I don't concern myself with my brand. I share what I think. I share what's in my heart. And I share what I believe. And I believe that everybody has intrinsic value. Every human life has value to it. You may not see it. I sometimes may not see it. But there is a value to it. And that everyone should be treated equally under the law. And I stand against racism and bigotry and hatred in all forms. Doesn't matter the color of your skin, your gender, your sexual orientation, your religion, of which I do not have one. But I just don't understand. It's the 21st century. How do we have so many people who are willfully and gleefully ignorant and just want to, paint the world with their own hateful brush? I just don't understand. But kudos to the companies out there who are just saying, hey, you know what? We don't stand for bigotry. And yes, I even mentioned this in the tweet. You know what? Words are cheap. Talk is super cheap. People can sit there and we hear it all the time, right? We see politicians do this all the time, right? Oh, I believe in this and I believe in this and I believe in this. And then it comes out, well, they've been breaking the law doing everything against what they've told us they believe. But at least take these companies need to take a moment and say, hey, this is where we stand, because this is a hobby that is supposedly all about inclusion and diversity and welcoming people to our table. And if you have a company involved in this hobby and you are unwilling to say, hey, you know what? People of color deserve the right to not be killed by the police. You got a problem. I think you got a problem. Okay, so let's see what we've got before we jump into the news. Like I said, I'm not going to pontificate a bunch. So, Chet Bell is in chat. I think this might be the first time Chet has popped in to visit with us. Welcome aboard. Thanks for joining us. Let's see. So Chet Bell says that they heard about the multi-man blowback, and Chet became a first-time customer today. Very good. Very good. So, so John Vogel says that they are 70, or as I like to say, 18, with 52 years of experience. So, anyway, so yes, the Madman points out that he's probably the oldest at his gaming tables. I am too, unless Elliot is there. Unless Elliot Miller, my best friend, is there, because he's 6 months older than me. So he gets to be the oldest person at the gaming table. Ah! All right. Anyway, so I have pontificated about that. I am not going to keep carrying on or harping about this, but I don't know. Like I said, this is supposed to be a hobby that's all about inclusion and being welcoming diversity. I mean, like I said, people talk a good game, but it's, money talks, bullshit walks, is how I sort of look at it. All righty there. So Dan says, Dan's lying and saying he's 56. I'm just teasing. Dan knows I give him a hard time. I am actually going to sit down and chat with Dan from No Enemies Here this Sunday. So you have been warned that you can actually skip that episode of No Enemies Here, because God knows it will not be entertaining. All right, let's jump on into the news, because arriving this fall from Deepwater Games is Sovereign Skies, and I've got the dope. Long ago, in a time of war, the 6 alien planets of the Abyssy, I think, cluster worked hard to find diplomacy and eventually came to form a fragile democracy. For humankind, the discovery of this cluster could mean abundant and cheap energy in the form of the Earth-rare Atlam crystal. Now, several human factions are racing in to grab a share. In Sovereign Skies, you play one of the powerful houses of Old Earth, now orbiting the 6 planets of the Abyssy cluster, to recruit alien senators for favors and to establish occupation by constructing and activating bases for energy and influence. Each turn, you'll move your mothership and perform 1, 2, 3 of the actions on a planet to help you earn the energy and influence you'll need to win the game. Add a ship, collect a politic card. Surprise, I would think it'd be a politics card. It says politic card. And or perform a planet's special action. This game features big strategic depth in a small box. Worker movement action selection rondels. Unique scoring mechanism for area control. Plays quickly in about 45 minutes, even in a 4-player game, and it features beautiful art and graphic design, if they say so themselves. Sovereign Skies is for 1 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, and as mentioned, plays in around 45 minutes. I do not have an exact MSRP. This is supposed to be coming out in Q3, so it's heading out in fall, but the pledge level on Kickstarter was $29. So I'm going to take a guess. This should probably come in somewhere around $34.99 to maybe $29.99, depending on how they structured that in the Kickstarter. But this does look kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. So, so Mark Clement has joined us in chat. Good to see you, Mark. I'm 99.9% positive we have had Mark pop in a few times in the past. So good to see you. So, yes, so Dan is talking about adults only here Yes, it's gaming after dark. If you've ever been to Origins Game Fair, they have this gaming after dark thing. I've never been to it because I'm usually hanging out in a bar after dark. But it's supposed to be, it's for adults. And the madman points out it's not about age. We're all just high level characters. Yes. Today saw the launch of the Sorcerer Endbringer, not Stormbringer, Endbringer Kickstarter for White Wizard Games. I said Stormbringer because every time I see that, I just keep thinking Stormbringer. So I figured I'd say it, get it out there. That way I won't mess it up again. But I do have the dope on the Kickstarter. At the start of each game, each player will create a unique sorcerer in Sorcerer by combining a character deck, which shows who you are, with a lineage deck, which represents the style of magic you inherited, and a domain deck, which reveals where you honed your magical powers. Shuffle those cards together to form your grimoire, which contains your dark magic and evil minions. And you're ready to play. In Endbringer, 1 to 3 players will team up to battle against a crazed demigod known as a man-eater. The man-eater. Okay. Oh, here he comes. Yeah, right. Okay. You know where I'm going with that, right? You'll create this adversary by combining nemesis, who they are, with an aspect, what army they lead, and a scenario. What are they doing? For example, you might battle Erling Khan, the Death Dealer, who is leading the invasion. Each of the 4 different oversized Nemesis cards comes with a large standee and a unique Nemesis deck, or I guess we could say Nemesis deck. At various points in the game, you will reveal the top card of the Nemesis deck. Each card can generate multiple different effects depending on the game state. I do have a Kickstarter video. It's a little bit longer compared to most Kickstarter videos. I think it's about 3.5 minutes. But it will explain this Kickstarter so much better and so much quicker than I possibly can. So let's kick back and give it a watch.
You have done well, my child. While the humans slept, blissfully unaware, your powers awoke. You mastered your sorcery and summoned forth our dark minions to conquer the great cities of man. Now, as new sorcerers awake, and you continue your battles throughout the world, I offer you a warning. Before the age of the sorcerer, the dark gods had other children. They were glorious, but their rage and hunger grew too quickly, so we were forced to banish them beyond the abyss. But your sorcerer's power is like a beacon to them. They will return, and unless you stop them, they will devour you and all you have conquered. Prepare yourselves, for the Endbringer comes!
Hi, I'm Rob Doherty, CEO of White Wizard Games, the creators of Star Realms, Hero Realms, Epic Card Game, and Sorcerer. Thanks to the generous support of our Kickstarter backers, we were able to make Sorcerer a truly beautiful game, matching its great card and dice gameplay with super high quality components and stunning artwork. If you missed it, don't worry. Back now and you get the Sorcerer base game and all the exclusives from the first Kickstarter. You can even get that original content shipped to you right after this Kickstarter ends. And of course, we have fantastic new expansions for Sorcerer. There are 6 new decks for building your sorcerers, like the Seth character pack, with a gunslinging sorcerer who crafts the sins of his victims into magical bullets. Or the Bewitched Woodland Domain pack, filled with fae and magical beasts. And best of all, we have the Endbringer set for solo and cooperative play. In Endbringer, you still combine a character deck, a lineage deck, and a domain deck to create your unique sorcerer. But you also create an adversary by combining a man-eater, a horde, and a scenario. There are 4 different crazed demigods known as man-eaters. Each comes with an oversized card showing their special abilities and a unique deck. At various points in the game, you'll reveal the top card of their deck. Each card can generate multiple different effects depending on the game state. Each man-eater commands an army, represented by the 4 horde decks. Each has different minions and unique game mechanics. Every horde deck also comes with an oversized card showing that army's special powers and tactics. Finally, your nemesis will have one of 4 oversized scenario cards, which provide special rules for the game and victory conditions for the players and the man-eater. Place the oversized cards on the table to form your nemesis. For example, you may face
Erlingkhan, the Death Dealer, leading the invasion.
There are 64 different combinations you can battle against, each providing unique challenges for you and your friends to overcome. Check out the playthrough videos below to see Sorcerer and the new Endbringer set in action. We know not everyone can buy a game right now, but for those of you who can, we really appreciate it. On behalf of our game designers, developers, artists, graphic designers, support staff, and all our families, thank you so much for watching and thank you so much for your support. Press the green button. Back now.
There are a multitude of pledge levels in the Sorcerer Endbringer Kickstarter, but you can score the expansion plus 6 additional expansion packs, which are in essence 2 new sorcerers, and all stretch goals for a $75 pledge through July 23rd. The project easily passed 200% funding already today, and you can expect delivery a year from now in July of 2021. I reviewed Sorcerer. I enjoyed it. It was a game that I was actually kind of surprised how much I enjoyed it. Because when I first took a look at it, I was kind of like, yeah, okay, so you're mashing up some decks together, creating your Sorcerer. But actually, it's a really good game. And I get a kick out of so a grade A popped into chat. Good to see you, grade A. And right away, he starts ripping on Rob Doherty from White Wizard Games. Preview voice guy. He's not, says Mark Clement. He's a designer. So grade A says they need to hire a voiceover guy. So yeah. Some of these companies, you know. But that is a Kickstarter that just launched today. So, and it's past 200% funded. Before I jump into the next news piece, I did want to mention something. I thought about this as that video was on. When I was talking about the tweet I put out there last night, I'm not implying that I had anything to do with these companies making a public statement. Not at all. Okay, so please don't think I'm sitting there. I was talking about, well, you know, I said this on Twitter last night, and then today. No, I am one of many voices out there who are asking, hey, where did some of these companies stand? Because they talk a good game, haven't said anything. So, anyway, cue the music. Yes, I hit the wrong button. Yeah, I went to the wrong screen. So here you go. Sorry about that, gang. I was trying to essentially do this, but not thinking, I jumped back to a full screen shot. Not thinking that's what that music from Dan. So, yes, it's the dance party break. It certainly is. Other thing is the reason why I'm going to be doing an unboxing and first look at the Men of Iron tri-pack tomorrow is because that's actually going to also give me an opportunity to shoot some other video tomorrow with my review of the Enemy in Shadows Companion, as well as I want to crack open the Pathfinder Arcane cards, the spell cards. This is the only set I got. I think there's 4 different sets, if I remember correctly. Plus, I also got the Starfinder flip tile set for the space station. So I'm going to shoot those videos. And if I do an unboxing tomorrow, the time that I would normally spend putting all the news in that together, I'm going to spend doing those videos. There we go. Ha ha ha. So Flaming Heron's in chat asking if Dan from No Enemies Here makes any money on the opening music. No, Dan just said, hey, you want to use this? I said, okay. It's okay. I have other music I could put in there that I used to have all the time. I can change the opening back, you know. So Grey Day says, I want to see those tiles. These could be pretty cool. And I keep mentioning that even if you play like science fiction skirmish miniatures, we won't necessarily name any particular ones out there, but there's one that's very popular, right? Mm-hmm. I think these would probably work very well for those. So we're going to get a peek at these, and I will actually have those videos start popping up as of Friday. Plus, I'm also going to review do my review of the Call of Cthulhu Keepers Guide. So that will be up as well. Okay, so let's get back into the news because, like I said, I've got a good deal of it. So there was another Kickstarter that is launched recently. This one's from Verssen Games, and it's to bring 4 new Air Leader expansions to the public. I've got the dope. This Kickstarter includes 4 Air Leader game expansions. You can pledge for any of the 4 products and or add any of the 4 to your pledge as add-ons. There is Phantom Deluxe, Israeli, and Hornet. These are all like Phantom Leader, Israeli Leader, Hornet Leader. And each contain new campaigns, aircraft, skills, skill sheets, events, alternate target cards, and a rule sheet on how to use them. Alternate targets adds a huge amount of replayability to campaigns, which if you've played any of the Leader games, they already have loads of replayability. Each expansion offers an alternate target for every target in the core games. These represent attacking the target on a different day or under different circumstances. For example, Israeli Air Force Leader's core game target number 1, Small Convoy, has some site coverage, is soft and dispersed, while offering you a positive bump on the infra track. The expansion's alternate Small Convoy does not benefit from any site coverage, however, has additional bandits flying CAS. It is also a scramble target, meaning the convoy is priority number 1, while also offering -2 stress after flying. Finally, instead of the infra bump, you now instead gain a recon bump, as well as being able to assign 2 additional pilots to the mission. This is just an example of all the goodies that are available in these 4 new expansions. There is a video. I do want to mention the video only says there's 3 expansions. I kind of think the B-17 Leader expansion may have been a last-minute add-on, but I am going to share that video. It's pretty short. It's about 1.5 minutes. And I got to warn you, I may not have actually loaded up this video yet. So let's find out. So if I click on this and a different video plays, well, give it a second, because I will certainly switch it to the correct video. Reason why is I waited forever to find out, because what I'll do is when I share these videos, I'll upload them to YouTube first, kind of privately, just to make sure I don't get flagged for any copyright violations. And it was like 10 minutes before I started the show when I finally got to see that, okay, there's no copyright violation, because there is some music in these, so you never know. All right, so let's see. Does Jeff have it queued up or not?
Hi, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Sarah, and today we're here to talk to you about our newest Kickstarter, which is expansions for 3 of our Leader games. 1 for Israeli Air Force Leader, 1 for Phantom Leader, and 1 for Hornet Leader. Each expansion is going to contain 4 new campaigns, some new aircraft, new skills, new events, and new alternate targets.
Alternate targets give you a second version of each target that appears in the core game with keywords and stats changed. The example would be attacking the target on a Wednesday as opposed to a Tuesday. On a Wednesday, there's lots of sites, a couple of bandits, and they're dispersed. However, on the Tuesday, the sites are less, but there's far more bandits, but they're not as dispersed anymore because now they're more clumped together as they're on the move. It essentially gives you some more replayability in each of the campaigns, and when you're deciding to play, you can play with either target 1s from the core game or the expansion, either target 2s, list goes on.
So each expansion will MSRP for $40, but on the Kickstarter, we're going to sell them for $30. And as our Kickstarters usually go, if you buy more, you're going to save more money. So we're going to have 3 pledge levels, 1 for 1 expansion, 1 for 2, and 1 for 3. If you buy the 3 pledge level expansion, it's going to be cheaper per expansion you purchase.
The ETA is November, and we have plenty of stretch goals set up already, and please help us fund this game.
Yeah, thank you for backing, and thank you for watching. Bye.
You can reserve any of the expansions for a $30 pledge, or if you grab more than one, you get bigger savings. And this Kickstarter does run through July 15th. This was another project that funded right away. So this funded in about 2 hours. So you really don't have to worry about, oh, is this going to fund or not? And expected delivery on these is actually very quick. They're looking at November of this year. Nice. Very nice. Let me jump back out, and this time I will use a full screen that does not have music. There's my Phantom Leader right there. My Phantom Leader Deluxe. I really like the different leader games from Dan Verssen. I have reviewed a few of them over the years. In fact, the last Dan Verssen game that I got to review was the War of the Worlds, the East Coast United States edition. That was a lot of fun too. So we've got the Madman asking, how are the rules for B17? Because he's considered picking it up and jumping on the Kickstarter for the expansion. I have not played B17 Leader. I will point that one out. I have played Phantom Leader Deluxe and Apache Thunderbolt Leader. So I've played both of those. I've not played Hornet Leader. I have not played, I think it's Israeli Air Command Leader. I think that's what its title is. But they're all kind of similar. And they're a blast. They're not super difficult to learn how to play. And there's a lot of variety to it. Oh, another game I had reviewed not too long ago from Dan Verssen Games was the modern edition of Warfighter, which was also very good. Really like that too. That was quite different than the War Leader series, but not completely different. There were still some similarities in that. Once again, pretty easy to jump on into. A lot of replayability, a lot of variety as well. So we have War Steve joining us in chat. I believe this is the first time we've had War Steve pop in. Good to see you. Wondering how to find fellow war gamers. Yeah, and Mark points out, check on Facebook, favorite game store. Yeah, that is, those are good ideas. Board Game Geek. I would think you can go to Board Game Geek and try to find some info there. Consim World is probably another option for you. Though their forum is, now I haven't been on their forum in a long time, but it is pretty creaky. So, and I know they were doing some updates to it, but I think it's still kind of creaky. So, you know, John and the gang over there, I love to death. I think they're fantastic. But yeah, I think their forum might be a little difficult to navigate. But, you know, the funny thing is, I don't know how many people out there remember, and this is more historical miniatures. Anybody remember that little, like, it wasn't really a magazine. In fact, I got a stack of them, but they're not within reach. Emlon, I want to say it was the Midwestern Wargamers Association newsletter. And I used to pick that up all the time at Emperor's headquarters in Chicago. I love that. And they would have, different rule sets and stuff in there. And they always had like an opponent's wanted section as well. So unfortunately, that is long gone. I think that, oh gosh, I think that wrapped up probably 15 years ago. I'm surprised I still have some copies of it floating around. The Madman says that they're all over Warfighter World War II. I would have liked to have checked that out. I think that would be pretty interesting. And there's quite a lot for it out there. Plus, well, Modern has a lot as well. So anyway, back to talking about this Kickstarter. There are 4, not 3, 4 expansions available, and they're going to retail at $40, which was mentioned in the video itself, but you can snag them for $30 or less, depending on how many you get. All right, moving right along, there is a unique card game that's making its way to retail following a successful Kickstarter run. I've got the dope on Global Crisis, which is from Studio 9 Inc. Global Crisis, Earth 2265. The world is on the edge of total annihilation. Natural, social, political, military, and corporate forces have pushed humanity to the brink. The words of a Persian mystic and prisoner who foresaw the future 400 years prior stands truer than ever before. In fits and starts, the process of creating global stability has been emerging for eons. Now the world faces its most dire hour. The super science of catastrophic weaponry, imbalanced and exploited globalization, and the unlocked potentials of Mother Nature's wrath have all given rise to a myriad of horrific problems which require a host of powerful solutions. Forces of light and dark battle openly in public discourse, secretly behind the closed doors of the powerful elite, and deep within the minds and hearts of all people. Despite those who cling to a world long gone, a consensus is formed among the world's peoples and great leaders. A new world must be made. Led by the charge of reason and fueled by a desperate hope, a rallying cry for peace is heard. Is it too late to counteract eons of destruction? Can humanity set aside their petty squabbles, age-old hatreds, and demagogue-stoked fears in order to bring about what is only dreamed of? And what of suspicions? Is everyone a trusted ally, or do some lurk in shadow, attempting to plunge the world into a dark age of fallout and waste? You are the rulers and leaders who will settle the fate of the world for better or worse. Global Crisis is for 2 to 5 players, ages 13 and up, plays in around an hour. I do not have an MSRP yet. This is an August release, I do believe, but I think this is right around about $25. So here's the thing that's kind of interesting too, is as we look at the cards, I think the art style is pretty cool. And then they have the leaders, which the art style is completely different. It sort of has so we've got almost a kind of I almost want to say like a Mobius style, if folks remember Mobius and a lot of his heavy metal artwork and strips that he did. And I don't mean a Mobius strip, I mean his strips. And then suddenly we have this kind of like, I don't know, manga inspired artwork for the leaders. Kind of odd. But this could be a pretty interesting game because it's a co-op game from what I understand. Now, I don't know anything about Studio 9 Inc. outside the fact that they're in Evanston, Illinois. So I might reach out to them to see if they want some coverage of this, because this looks pretty interesting. And it's supposed to be cooperative, but you can also play it with the possibility that one of the players is kind of a hidden traitor who is actually working against being able to save the world. So I think that's pretty wild too. But like I said, this looks kind of interesting. And I think this kind of stands out. That's why I wanted to share this information with you. All right, let's move on into some role-playing game news, because a new bundle of holding rolled out yesterday. It's a brand new offering. I got the dope on the savings you can score on Invisible Sun from Monte Cook Games. Bisley, I think that's how it's pronounced. Walk the path of suns with his Invisible Sun bundle, featuring the surreal tabletop role playing game, you guessed it, Invisible Sun, from Monte Cook Games. In Invisible Sun, you leave this world of shadow to become a Vizsla, a student of magic, walking the path of suns to discover the deepest secrets of reality itself. Funded in a spectacular August 2016 Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign, Invisible Sun debuted as a physical black cube. Remember that, folks? I remember seeing that at Gen Con before it went on Kickstarter. That carried a retail price of $250. Was packed with rulebooks, game components, and play aids. This offer presents the follow-up digital Black Cube with hundreds of ebooks and image files guaranteed atom-free. That is, there's no physical components included, for an unprecedented bargain price. For just $24.95, you get the complete Invisible Sun digital Black Cube, which normally carries a retail value of $99, as DRM-free PDF files. All written components of the Black Cube, 4 core books, 7 print and cut decks of cards, handouts, props, an art book, maps, pre-generated characters, and more. 1,000 pages, you heard that right, of incredible wonder. And if you pay more than the threshold price of $41.75, you'll level up, or maybe you should be earning acumen, and also get the entire bonus collection with 5 more PDFs worth an additional $87. There's the Secrets of Silent Streets, an in-depth tour of Citrine, the conflict-ridden city at the heart of the Invisible Sun setting. Book M, New Forte, long-form magic, and character and house secrets, plus 200 new cards for spells, incantations, ephemera, and objects of power. There's Teratology, hundreds of creatures, spirits, and other entities that inhabit the realms of Invisible Sun, plus new locations and insights to the path of the suns. Then there's the Enchiridion, I think that's how it might be pronounced, of the path, notes, maps, journal clippings, and tons of other print and play handouts for your table, as well as the Invisible Sun prop crafting kit. Make your own menus, handbills, tickets, brochures, and business cards to convey official letters, secret messages, or hidden clues. These savings do run through July 19th, and 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to this offer's designated charity, Human Rights Watch. This is a pretty amazing deal. It really is. Because this is normally, the digital Black Cube is normally $100. It's $99. It is, if you go to Drive-Thru RPG right now, it is $99. So, but I don't know. I got to be honest. I know almost nothing about Invisible Sun. I know it's pretty bizarre. I know it's I don't want to, maybe not necessarily use the word esoteric, but here's the problem that I kind of would maybe have is those decks of cards. I remember when I saw the preview at Gen Con before this hit Kickstarter, those decks are hundreds of cards. So that means you are printing out hundreds of cards. And I believe you need those cards to play the game. So I don't know. Grade A says, looks like a dump truck of content. So Flaming Heron says, considering this is digital, it's still an amazing deal. Yep, I do agree. And that they were put off by the $99 price tag for this on Drive-Thru RPG. I completely agree. To me, even if it's 1,000 pages of content, $100 is pretty difficult to shell out for digital content. At least in my opinion, it's kind of tough. All right. Oh, so yes, that it's got that golden hand. A grade A is pointing out. So you just go get a mannequin hand and spray paint it gold. Yep, there you go. All right. So Flaming Heron says that they enjoy Monte Cook Games in general. Yes, Monte Cook Games do tend to be different. It's not the same old all the time. And I have to give them a lot of credit. And I interviewed Monty, let's see, that would have been 2 Gen Cons ago. He was super nice. We had a great time. We were kidding around, so it was pretty cool. So Mark Clement says, yep, he is a top game designer. Yes, he is. And Shenna Germain also does a lot of work for Monte Cook Games as well. She does a lot of top-notch work also, so don't want to forget mentioning her. All right, so moving right along, 2 more news pieces. Because now available in PDF from Troll Lord Games is Amazing Adventures 5e. There's the dope. Infinite worlds of adventure await. Amazing Adventures is the modern multi-genre RPG that lets you take your game to any time, any place, and any world you can imagine. This new version is completely compatible with the 5th edition rules of the world's most famous RPG. What could that possibly be? I don't know. And it brings it firmly into the modern era without a ton of new or altered rules and systems. Within this massive tome, you'll find complete character generation rules, 10 character classes ready to play with paths and archetypes for each, new backgrounds, feats, and equipment, guidelines on playing a variety of genres, a complete bestiary with foes both human and monstrous, a GM section with advice on building adventures and running campaigns. There's psionics, magic, super science, and more. Also includes a complete introductory adventure, guidelines that bring your fantasy races and classes into modern play. And everything's included in one book, everything you need. So fire up your jetpack and take off with the RPG of science, sorcery, pugilistic pummeling. Take a little of that with you. Gun-toting, sword-wielding, starfighter flying, gadget-carrying excitement today. The 375-page Amazing Adventures 5e is available at Drive-Thru RPG for a cool $19.99. Not bad, almost 400 pages of content. 20 bones. Penny less than 20 bones. So, kind of cool. I think this has been out for a little bit. This might have just been updated, but I do know that this has actually picked up a lot of steam on Drive-Thru RPG. So, something I should mention that all 6 of our news pieces have in common to this point. Every one of them has some sort of affiliation with Kickstarter. Either we've got the 2 news pieces that are currently running on Kickstarter, and then everything else has actually been funded on Kickstarter through successful projects. I thought that was sort of interesting. I don't think I have ever included so many game projects, releases, products that all had a tie-in to Kickstarter. That's pretty wild. So Grey Day says, I thought of Jeff last weekend because there was a whole complete in print Hollow Earth collection of books and props on eBay. Huh. Okay. I'm not sure why Hollow Earth would kind of remind people of me. So I don't know. So it ended up coming out at $250. So a Grey Day says, Amazing Tales is a good RPG of this type. Amazing Tales is more for families. And you know, the funny thing is, when I first saw this, I thought, wait a second, is this Amazing Tales with new artwork? It's not. It is Amazing Adventures. Because I was going to say, Amazing Tales was not from Troll Lord. And I actually reviewed Amazing Tales. So I have a review for it. All right, let's get our last news piece. Because I tend to mention the 4th edition of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, or as some people like to refer to it as Riff. Anyway, I tend to refer to that, which is from Cubicle 7 Entertainment, quite a bit around here. And now there's actually a handy conversion table for previous editions. It's available at Drive-Thru RPG. It is free. I've got the dope. The Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay conversion tables provide a guide for converting 1st and 2nd edition characters and NPCs to the current 4th edition rules. We've included a comprehensive list of skills and talents with some additional guidance on updating trickier character traits. This document is a useful addition For any grognard who wants to dust off a beloved character and take them through a new adventure in the old world, or for newer players who wish to delve into some of the earlier edition PDFs Cubicle 7 has made available. Browse first edition RIFIP PDFs and second edition PDFs right on Drive-Thru RPG. Do want to point out this PDF, once again, is provided free of charge. Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Conversion Tables includes, obviously enough, a handy chart for converting characteristics from first and second edition, to Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay's 4th edition, a list of skills from 2nd edition and their closest match in 4th edition, a list of talents from 1st and 2nd edition and their closest match in 4th edition. You can snag this right now. It is over at Drive-Thru RPG, and it will cost you nothing. And of course, whenever I mention Drive-Thru RPG, the Gaming Gang and thus the Daily Dope are affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit Drive-Thru RPG, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners right up top. And if you do happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. And all those little portions add up and help keep the Gaming Gang around. All righty. So that is it for the news tonight. Like I said, a lot of news. So let's see what we've got here. So the Madman says, just received the Amazing Adventures 5e physical copy last week. Looks good from what he's paged through so far. Yeah, the artwork looks pretty nice. I took a quick peek at the preview that was on Drive-Thru RPG, which I never use those images because they have the Drive-Thru RPG watermark all over them. They look awful. So, but yes, it did look pretty good, looked pretty sharp. And that is why I shared the news of it. I never share news for things that I think are going to suck. Just because once again, I'm not like most people who cover this hobby. I'm not in anybody's pocket. I don't concern myself like, oh, is this publisher going to get pissed off if I tell to, share my thoughts, which might be negative about a certain product and things like that. I don't care about that. I care about, being upfront and honest, at least, sharing my honest opinion on things. I never say I'm right. I never claim to be, damn it, I am 100% correct. I just share my opinion. That's it. Okay, so that is it for tonight's show. Once again, tomorrow, we're going to have a special War Game Wednesday. This box is pretty heavy. That's why I keep trying to reach over with one hand and pick it up. But I am going to unbox and take a first look at the Men of Iron Tri-Pack from GMT Games. This is available right now. And it's got 3 full games inside. So we are going to take a look at all medieval stuff. So we are going to take a peek at this. I did review Infidel years ago when it was out, and I liked it. It was not super crunchy, and it gave you a good feel for the period, at least in my opinion. It's not like I'm some big medieval history expert of any type, but yeah, I know a little bit. So that'll be on tomorrow's show. So let's see, anything else in chat? Looks like we're pretty good. We're pretty much up to steam. Oh, hey, here's one last thing. I don't know if anybody in chat can answer this. So I've been bouncing around, checking out Total War Warhammer, either the first or second, because it's kind of bizarre, because if you own the first and you get the second, then you can carry over those races and factions into the second game, and yeah. Money sink, right? So I have not played a Total War game in a long time. Although we know Total War Troy is coming from Creative Assembly in August. For some strange reason, I want to say like August 13th. And for the first 24 hours, it's going to be absolutely free on the Epic Game Store. because it's going to be an Epic Game Store exclusive for its first year. Interesting. So I'm kind of curious if anybody's played it, because I've kind of looked at, okay, so what would the cost be? Because there's the summer sale right now on Steam, because Steam is the only place you can get it, at least as far as the US, as far as I know. And the Steam summer sale is on right now. And I think Warhammer 1 is 75% off. Warhammer 2 is 50% off. And a lot of the DLC is, well, I think all of the DLC is on sale in some respect as well. But I think it's still, if you get everything for it, it's about $250. And now remember, I was saying, $99 for a digital product. Kind of like when we were talking about Invisible Sun. And it's sort of like, do I want to like get involved in playing Total War Warhammer with the possibility I'll be like, man, I really like this. I think I'm going to spend $250 on it. It's like, all right. So, Grade A's asking who the publisher for Amazing Adventures. It is actually Troll Lord Games. Just had it up on screen. I think that's who Grade A is asking about. Flaming Heron says they own both. So big thumbs up. I mean, I don't have to get all the DLC, but I heard the Mortal Engines campaign, which is one of the things that you combine both together. I heard it's pretty cool. So I don't know. I'll give Flaming Heron a second to chime in to tell me if it's worth going after or not. But yeah, I'm a little concerned about that money sink. So a Grade A says that Total War Warhammer 1 is not supported anymore by patches. Yes, I do know that. But the thing is, I thought, and maybe I'm wrong, but I thought for you to be able to have the races that are in the first Warhammer, you have to own it. So you don't get like the humans, you don't get the orcs, well, greenskins, I guess, because I think goblins fall into that category too. So that's what I thought. So Grade A says, yes, you do get the exclusive Mortal campaign if I have both. Okay, cool. So, yeah. So Flaming Heron says, yeah, only buy the first one for the races / factions, or if I want to play the race-specific campaigns. So correct me if I'm wrong, and I know it's kind of weird that we're having this conversation sort of like through chat, right? So correct me if I'm wrong, but if you have Warhammer and then you get Warhammer 2, you can still play the campaigns from the first Warhammer game, but they are kind of like updated for the new mechanics and everything in the second game. Because I understand the second game cleaned up a lot of problems, and they're constantly making tweaks. I think there's even a new patch coming out very shortly. So Flaming Heron says, yes, to play them, you have to own the first one. Well, it's like $14. I think it's like $15 right now on Steam. And then the second is like $20.49. I think normally they're each $60. So pretty good savings. And I even think there's an additional $5 off for any purchase over $30. So, all right. Anyway, that is it for tonight's show. As I like to mention, if you like this video, please give it a quick thumbs up and subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, ring the notification bell, because it'll tell you when I upload standalone videos, such as my upcoming review of the Enemy in Shadows Companion. It'll also tell you when the Daily Dope streams live right here on YouTube, Monday through Thursday nights. Those of you who hung out and chat, we had a nice chat going tonight. We had quite a few people hanging out. Definitely appreciated that. Always love when people spend some time in chat. That way I'm not feeling like a dope, just like staring in the camera, blah, 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 blah. But of course, if you don't have an opportunity to join us live, maybe you watch after the fact, maybe you're watching on Memorex. I definitely appreciate that as well. Anyone who takes a little bit of time to watch my videos has this nice